time for the intake. I already started taking some of this apart, but to re-illustrate what I've done. So first you're gonna need some of these guys, channel locks. This clamp right here is way back here behind everything. There's another one up here. So this clamp here, you just get channel locks, you put it on like a thing so it's like almost closed, and then you just kind of go for it. I mean, like, honestly, if I'm showing you how to use channel locks, you probably shouldn't be attempting this job. But so you just clamp, move that over, then go bango, ready to go. Now you take this guy off, and then back here, there's a bolt, which is a Torx 30, T30 Torx. And then with that removed, this is where the fun comes in. There's another special tool you're supposed to have, which I don't. What I did is, so the first thing is you want to take this clamp off as well. So for that, because it's on a silicone coupler at the bottom here, I can literally pull this and pry back. And now from over here, you can have a clear sight at the clamp in the back. So you have to be up above, take the channel locks, get back here, but you can actually reach. And then once that comes off, you're good. The pipe comes out, and now you have this here, which there's a special tool you're supposed to have for it, which I don't have. So I just kind of boop, and then boop, and then another boop right there, and then one on the bottom here, boop. Oh, I think I gotta do the top one again. There we go. Comes right off. So that has the crankcase ventilation, so that just goes back in. So when you take this off, there's going to be oil in it. So try to put that so it's not gonna drip all over everything, so the outlets kind of face up, or at least try to. So right here, this bracket in here, that's where the T30 was, and it goes in from the back, facing forward. Now that's off. Now I can continue from where I left off, which is to take the rest of the coupler off of the turbo, which is down here. So I'm going to grab the flashlight. Car's on jack stands right now because I'm messing with the washer fluid reservoir. It's leaking for some reason. I'm trying to figure out where. So normally you don't need a stepping stool to get in here. Also, you have to take the engine cover off. That kind of goes without saying, as you can see that I don't have it on. Now the clamp back here, you cannot see it, so this is going to be one of those things where you have to go by force. Use the force. Yeah, I just gotta line these channel locks up somehow. That's good. Okay. There we go. So we got the factory silicone coupler off. Again, more delicious oily goodness. Next is, well, this one's kind of problematic. It uses security Torx in here, so I'm just going to break those off, make it into a regular Torx. I don't understand why they made them security Torx. It's such a pain in the ass. These cars are becoming more and more Apple every time they make something new. Try and get this in here. Take that on. Oh, well, I guess we could take this off while we're here. Push down, push in, pull up. Oh, didn't work. There we go. I just kind of reached in the little hole, and I just pried up on that. There. Releases it. I can work on this after. Phillips. I need a Phillips. So, one in here, one over here. Hopefully you get the idea where these are. Here. There's one here. There's one in here somewhere. Right in there. And then here. And here. So there should be 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so there's 8. Now this can just pull up and out. There we go. So now we will come back to this air filter. It's about time we change that anyway. Swiss cheese mod. Now the only thing holding this in right now is currently this guy, which should just be these 3 clips. Take that off. Now this hose just pulls up. Oh, come on. There we go. Now this guy should just be some clips on the side here, right there, and then right here. That pulls off. Now we have some room to spare, and then in here, there's kind of hard to get in there. We don't have to take that off. We just have to release this in here, which you just pull up. Oh, Jesus. Trying to get under there. There we go. Now just kind of fish that out. There we go. So those are the clips that I was trying to get to, and there's one on this side as well. Garbage, garbage. Now we just gotta take this guy out, which should be 2 Torx. I believe they're T25s. T25. Reattach it. So I'm gonna need an extension. Again, we're just going in here with the force. Okay, that's going forever. Now again, in here with the force. Just hope for the best. There we go. The air intake to bring air in. Now, this kit comes with checkpoint tuning. Sounds trustworthy. Now, this is the concerning part with this. Let's just take a sit here for a minute. Okay, so these cars, the AP-A3, they're extremely hard to find parts for. Now, if you're in the market for, say, a Mk6 Golf R or a Mk7 GTI, I can't recommend one of these more than one of those, as this car has the panoramic sunroofs. So if you're into racing, that's a downfall because it's extra weight. But for a daily driver, it's awesome. Lets in tons of light, so you can have darker windows and you don't get hassled from the cops, so it lets in more light. Now, the next thing is that this is technically a station wagon because it has an A pillar, a B pillar, a C pillar, and a D pillar. So because of that third section window on the back, this is technically a station wagon, which makes my insurance super cheap for this. So this is essentially a Mk6 Golf R with cheaper insurance, more luxuries, and way more problems. This is just such a pain in the ass to work on. Now, because these aren't super common to be modifying, it's hard to find parts for them. And the cheapest intake that I was able to find was like $400 or $500 US, which Canadian, that's like $650 to $750, which is absurd. This was $150 US off of eBay. It's just some random junk, like CPT, whatever that is. And this is for a Mk6, Mk6, yeah, so this is for a Mk6 GTI or Golf R. So this essentially bolts right on. This is not made for an A3, although they both do use Gen 1 TSIs. So this is the AP-A3, believe the Mk5 Golf R, but not the GTI, the Mk6 GTI Golf R, and then I think the Mk7 GTI is similar. The Tiguan is also this. So if you have a first generation Tiguan, you can be doing these to it, well, in theory, but we'll get to that. So that hose that we took off clamps onto here, and it's the same fitting and everything, so it should just clamp right on, like no issues. And then the sensor can go in here. Right here, it bolts down to where the factory airbox is supposed to be bolted in, but for some reason my bolt was missing, which I didn't show you, but I will show you where that goes. Now, the only downfall here is that this is a pre-2012, which means that this doesn't have the same emissions on the first generation TSI. So this is a first gen TSI before the emission controls were set in. So this is just a hole, and I don't have the hose that plugs onto this. So I'm gonna have to figure something out to clamp this closed. Now, the concerning part is how light this is. This is like insanely light. They included this bracket, which easily weighs more than that entire intake. And I don't even understand the point of this. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the point of it, I understand what it does. It's just, does it even do anything? There are so many holes everywhere. It's just kind of like hopes and dreams. So I'm not putting this on, mostly because this is literally just added weight for no reason. This bolts in where this one was, just like this. And it literally just takes air, directs it towards the air filter, which in theory, this lets air in and directs it towards the air filter. So this is not needed at all. So if you pick one of these up, literally just throw this in the garbage. This is the stupidest looking thing. Also, all the edges are extremely jagged and they just tack welded everything in place, but they've left gaps everywhere. So like, this is just like an absolute pile of garbage. Don't even use that. Now that we have everything essentially out of the way, these screws I am going to put back in just so if, for whatever reason, me, or if I end up selling the car down the road, a secondary owner wishes to put it back together factory, they can, because the bolts are there. And it stops threads from getting super corroded. Oh, and from what I mentioned earlier, this is where the screw is supposed to be that holds the airbox on, and mine was missing. So for the intake, it has a little bushing that threads in here, and that's where it affixes to the pipe. Normally there is another hose that comes out and attaches to the airbox. I'm not like 100% on what that one does. I know the other one is crankcase ventilation, so I'm assuming that the other one is probably EGR. It recirculates the exhaust gas back into the intake. This is before the emissions nonsense, so this doesn't have that specific EGR. If that's what it is, I'm assuming so. It makes sense. Back over here to this guy. Pop this over there. Now this hose can come off. And I need 2 Phillips screws here. So I can take the sensor out. We can get back to business. I'm trying to knock that out. What did I do with the hammer? Where did I put the hammer? It's gone. I have no idea where it went. Did I put it back? Oh, I did. God damn it. Move Mike's coolant. Thanks, Mike. Let's try and chip those off again. 1. Okay, those are no longer security torques. Torx 25, Torx 10, maybe it's Torx 15. T20? Maybe T20. Let's try T20. Oh, that was the guy. T20, okay. Oh, it does come with hardware. And a gasket. All of this junk onto the ground. And now we have a gasket and 2 screws. So now we can take the sensor and the gasket, which lines up terribly. Oh no, I guess it can go, there we go, that's better. Alright, now just shove this through. Allen heads. I need something tiny for this. That's gone forever. It is whatever this is. 2.5. Now we have to put this thing on. So now we just put that in. Make sure that's snug. We need to do the silicone coupler, which is this guy. To make these easier to put on, we're gonna spray some WD-40 because it evaporates right away. Won't be problematic. I'm just gonna spray WD-40 in here. And now this goes on the turbo side right there. Make sure it goes all the way down. I just have to tighten it. Now, all of this is hurdy. Now, very hurdy. Oh my god. This is going to be a nightmare. Gotta get that under there. Okay, there we go. I just have to tighten that up. Yeah, man. There we go. Next clamp is in place. So now let's make sure we plug this guy in. It's on the bottom. It's gonna be inconvenient to try and plug in again. We have to take this hose and just clamps onto here. Just have to try and get this in here. Oh, there we go. Up a little bit and onto the thing. But there we go. Okay. Now I just gotta figure out how to get my hand back there so I can tighten that clamp. I think I can. Oh wow, look at that. I can go right through here. Excellent. Use the force. Oh my god, my arm. Oh, almost tight. So this is the shitty part when you're modifying anything with Volkswagens. Everything is already a tight fit. Now we're shoving a 3-inch intake into an already tight area. It's just gonna be problems. There we go. Okay. Oh, my leg is broken. Oh my god. Every part of that sucked. The washer on. That 10 mil on there. Done and done. I have to figure out a cap for that still. But we can start it now. Good, good, good. Now let's start it up. My pasta. Intake is installed. I have to cover this. I'll get a plug for that. I don't like this being the opposite way, so I'm probably gonna try and take this off with the clamps over on this side. Straighten that out, so that's fine. And then my shitty racer engine cover. This goes back on. Perfect. That wasn't too long. It took like an hour. So CPT, literally the cheapest one for a Mk6 GTI was the intake that I went for. And once I figure out something to cover this hole on the front, should be fine. Just anything to cover it, stop junk from going into the intake. But it's definitely the cheapest one for an 8P A3, and it fits. It was a pain in the ass, but it fits. Hopefully this helps. Okay, so now the last part of this step here, because the intake is for a, I believe it was a Mk6 GTI. I don't remember what the intake was for. It has that emissions hose that comes off the intake that goes into it, and mine doesn't have that, so it's a first gen TSI, so this intake is technically for a second gen TSI. So I got this 1 1/16 to 2 inch clamp, and this little cap, which is 1.5 inch. So that's gonna go over that outlet on the intake. I don't know what this is made of. It's kind of flexible, rubbery. It's just whatever they had at the hardware store. So we're gonna take that like ghetto modification off that I did, which is a Gatorade cap and tape. This is my super awesome solution, which is just electrical tape and duct tape. There we go, Gatorade. It's giving the car all the electrolytes it needed. So now that's just gonna go on, and then we're gonna clamp this down. That'll be good for now. I actually feel like my last one was better than that one. Oof. Once the borders are reopened, I'll be able to get something an appropriate size, but for now, it'll be as good as I can do it in a small one-horse town where you can't get anything you need. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to put this on. There we go. There. Done. Hey, puppy! Okay, so we're just gonna go for a quick drive, get it up to temperature a little bit, and then we'll do just a small pull on the highway, just something to get some noise going. I don't know, I'm getting kind of sick of the height of this car. Let me know what you think. Should I raise it? Should I lower it more? I kind of want to go with 19s, so like, I might have to raise it. The smallest tires that I've been able to find for 19s were 225/35, which ends up being like a 26-inch tire. And what I'm running now is a 205/40 18. It ends up being about an inch difference. That's about a ½ inch on each side of the tire, give or take. But I'm not sure if they're going to fit in the same ratio as these, because these are, I think, either 8 or 8.5 inch wide. I can't remember. But the set that I'm looking at getting is 9.5 wide. So going from a 205 to a 225 is only about ½ an inch of tread width, but I'm going an 1.5 inches wider on the wheel size. So it's gonna have a lot more stretch than it normally does, which I think that amount of stretch that's being added might still give me the same amount of clearance, so I can run 19s without having to raise the car. Because the overall diameter of the tire doesn't matter once it's behind the fender. I can fit them regardless. So I don't know, tell me what you think. Should I go 19s? Should I keep the 18s? Should I raise it? Lower it? What are we doing? I hate that it has pops and bangs factory. I'm really hoping Unitronic is going to be able to remove that. That is the most annoying, obnoxious thing I've ever heard in my life. What the hell? Oh god, it just makes me look like a 17-year-old asshole. That's also why I'm driving around in manual mode, because when I downshift to stops, it doesn't do it until I let off the gas. So if I drive around like this and then just slowly let off the throttle and downshift every time, it doesn't do that, which is what I'm trying to achieve, because that is the most annoying thing I've ever heard in my life. Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's go hit up the highway. that. The intake was super easy to install. But anyway, that's it. You know, like, subscribe, do all whatever that YouTube stuff is that like you're supposed to do, or like don't. I don't know, man. I don't care.